Hi everyone, and welcome to the Pisces July 2021 self-connection reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and meaning-based spiritual coaching services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. So this is one of three connection readings that I complete each month for each sign that focus on connecting you with your unique internal authentic self, which is this reading here, your self-connection reading. I then have a spiritual connection reading, which takes a look at connecting your unique internal authentic self with your external environment. And then we take a look at love connection, which is the connection between your unique internal authentic self and the unique internal authentic selves of others. And of course, we take a look at the romantic themes of love as well. So what I'm going to be doing here is utilizing the Triad of Engagement, which is a coaching tool that I've developed that I use in my practice that focuses on showing the importance of working with three principles: curiosity, courage, and contemplation, and how when you combine those together, you can help to unlock awareness about yourself, as well as awareness about how you as a unique internal being get to connect with the external environment and where you can start to find place and purpose and emotional connection. All right, so Pisces, we are going to jump right into your reading. So I'm going to pull a Power of Surrender card for the principle of curiosity. And this is kind of an opening, overarching question you're going to be asking yourself for the month of July. Now, I know we are towards the end of July at this point. I apologize for being late again in these readings. I'm trying to get a better schedule going so that we can get most of these in towards the beginning of the month instead of towards the end of the month. But we're going to pull a card here for basically looking at curiosity, but bringing curiosity inward. A lot of times when we think about curiosity, we're generally talking about being curious towards our external environment. Now, I focus on, when we talk about curiosity, we're focusing on the principles of optimism, openness, receptivity. And we, in this reading, are going to be turning that inwards towards ourselves to take a look at some aspect of self that needs to have our awareness brought to it. Meaning that as we're starting to reconnect with our own authenticity, our own singularity, what I like to call our soul. Often there are parts of ourselves that we have hidden away, or that we have turned curiosity from being something that is all about gathering information, being open to the unknown, ready for being awed and wondered by the magic of ourselves as well as the magic in our external environment. We tend to instead change that as we get older, and we can change optimism into pessimism. We can change openness into closed offness, and we can change being receptive into being non-receptive. And that can look like you get to a point where you are no longer growing on a spiritual and emotional level, and you're starting to say things like, well, this is just the way I am, and no, I'm not good at this, or I used to be, but there's no way for me to utilize that ability in my adult life. And that's when we stop utilizing the principle of curiosity towards ourselves in a positive way. So we're here to kind of bust open, break open any barriers between yourself and your awareness of yourself, your unique self. So the question that we're going to ask ourselves to kind of keep in mind for the month of July is surrender to your soul's path. And I absolutely love this card. it says, your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and every moment. So when we're thinking about this, and we're thinking about how perhaps this message is coming through now as kind of an opening point towards reflecting on your internal self and gaining additional awareness and knowledge, where have you perhaps not been looking at life as a journey? And when I talk about, it says here in this first line, your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and every moment. Often we become, especially as we get older, we become very focused on the end result. And it's very difficult for us to feel satisfied or actually engage with the present moment until we reach that goal, or until we feel that we're close to realizing it. And so we kind of live in this state of almost, how would I put it? Discontent with what is, with what's around us, with engaging with ourselves. And sorry guys, hold on just a moment. Oh, my apologies. Sorry, my phone was about to run out of batteries. I had to change it up a bit. Okay, so we tend to get to this place where we are kind of in this, almost like a limbo of waiting. And we can do that internally as well, where instead of realizing that every day we are making decisions and taking action, and we have the option to be in touch with our unique self, to take action from a place of authenticity, meaning that when we are given options to make this decision or this decision, we can check in with ourselves at any given moment and be self-aware as to which action and which decision to make is more in line with our authentic self. Now, this can look like you are, let's say, working towards a specific goal. Let's say this goal is working towards earning money for a down payment for a house. And so you have been really working hard at work. You've been hoping for this promotion that you have been not only working towards, but also speaking to your company, your boss about. And you just are really focused on saving, and you're starting to kind of live more in this, well, when I get this promotion, and when I can start to save at this level, and when I can get this house. And so you're already living in the future. And your focus becomes very external, instead of engaging from an internal place first with that goal that you're working towards. Meaning that instead of focusing so much on the next step and the next step and the next step, you're bringing it back to you in the moment. So if you think about surrender to your soul's path and life's a journey, this is almost like imagining being out on a hike or a walk, and you're just hiking with the intention of getting to that end place and then turning around and coming back. Instead of realizing that the hike in total, enjoying the moments, enjoying the nature around you, enjoying being outside, enjoying the ability to connect with your body and its ability to take you to these places, to go on this hike. You're simply just looking at the destination. Now, at times, that's not a bad thing. We do need to always keep goals in mind and be, working towards something in the future that helps give us hope, that helps provide us with engagement with something beyond ourselves. But we also can't lose touch with ourselves in the moment, meaning that we should be looking to enjoy the journey as much as enjoy the end result. So this is a great place to stop and think, every day, am I engaging with some aspect of my day-to-day routine that I am tying into this end goal, but that I'm being self-aware of enjoying what I'm doing and how it connects to this end goal? Meaning, so let's say you are saving for this house and you're working hard at work and you're hoping for this promotion, and maybe you even had to, prove yourself, jump over a few hurdles, take on a leadership role as a test, maybe take on a new project. But are you every day stopping to do a self-evaluation, to say, am I enjoying this process? What am I learning about myself in taking on this new project, or pushing for this promotion, or having that beautiful connection, that emotional connection to getting my paycheck and seeing that I get to put X amount of money away in a savings account, and I'm feeling proud that I'm able to do this. It's connecting back to the little things that allow you to engage in the present moment. Because what I think sometimes lose sight of as well is that we are learning about ourselves in the journey. The journey is really the destination. That's really where we get to, just like a child who's at play, who, yes, they are playing and their ultimate goal is to be successful at whatever type of play they are engaging in. They're also learning about themselves through that play. So in the moment, they're learning about what they're capable of in many different ways. And that's really what it means to be working towards a goal. Now, what can happen sometimes is we end up losing real connection with ourselves when we get so focused on the goal that we don't realize that something inside of ourselves has changed. We've unlocked something about ourselves that might now make that goal, or what we're working towards, maybe shift a little bit. But if we're not self-aware, we might not notice that. And we might continue to work towards a goal that actually ultimately will not be fulfilling for us. That perhaps we thought we wanted to save for this house because at one point that's what all of our friends and family were doing. That's what we were told we should do. We were in a place where that was culturally acceptable. But as you've gone down this journey, and let's say you have been really focusing in work and you've unlocked some aspect of yourself that, and it could even be something where you've been so focused on work, but then all of a sudden a side project comes in and a friend shows up and says, hey, I know you were telling me you're into project management. Well, I have this side hustle and I'd love for you to come and help utilize your project management skills, but over here. And suddenly you are unlocking this aspect of your project management abilities, but they may no longer be, you may no longer want to utilize them towards this promotion at work. And the more that you get into working with your friend, the more that you realize you enjoy this, and maybe it involves travel, and maybe you realize you don't really want to settle down yet. But instead of really bringing that back to yourself and saying at the end of every day, wow, something's really changed and I've really had this great opportunity. Maybe I'm gonna, just see where these next little baby steps take me and connect with them and see where to go from here. You're still looking down the way at this house. And so you might end up actually telling your friend at some point, well, I'm sorry, I'm not getting paid enough through you. I have to refocus on my other job because this is where it's going to allow me to save. But is that what you still want to do? Now, the answer could be yes. And this could have been kind of a side test, a side quest to see if you really do want to go back and adjust. But that's where being aware of ourselves and aware of what actually makes us feel good in the moment and aware of what we're unlocking as we go on our journey. So if you think about any of the great novels or stories that exist out there about people who have gone on quests, or people kind of, I think of like the Odyssey or something along those lines, where they are coming across many different, it's like every time they kind of have their eyes set on one goal, they get thrown off course a little bit to have to battle this or face this challenge or unlock this part of themselves or the group that they're in. And in doing so, that keeps kind of unlocking something and unlocking something and unlocking something. And ultimately, they may never get to their end destination. But what they've learned about themselves and where they've actually gone is someplace that is so much better aligned with them. And that's where we can really get into that place of self-awareness and a place where we can enjoy the journey as much as the destination. In fact, our ultimate destination, and I know this is hard for many people to hear, is death. So we really have to keep that in mind, that at any given time, we will never reach a destination. We are always on a continuous journey. Now, what I love here is that it's surrendered to your soul's path. So what this is really asking you to be curious and open about is kind of breaking down those walls of, I have to do this, I have to work towards this, I have to achieve this, and bring that back to yourself to say, do I really have to do that? What do I really want to do? What do I connect with the most out of what I'm currently doing every day? And if the answer is not really anything, well, this is the perfect starting place. This is the perfect starting place to help you kind of start to see your path again. We're never off our path. We just lose sight that we're walking on it. This is when we go on the hike and don't notice the beautiful natural habitat around us, where we're just so focused on, I got to get to the top of the mountain. So that is kind of your overarching theme for July, is to kind of start to open that door back to self to say, who am I? And what do I enjoy most about what I'm doing? And if I don't technically have to do anything, what do I want to do? What feels like I'm following my soul's path? What gets me to engage with the beautiful surroundings again that I am in? Okay, now we are going to pull a card for the principle of courage. And courage is where we get to connect with our seat of personal power. Courage is all about having the courage to make the decisions, to take action from a place of authenticity. And this takes courage because to make any decision and to take any action takes some form of courage, especially when we're talking about bringing our authentic selves into engagement with the external environment. We don't have to. This is where our free will comes in. Courage, engages us with our seat of free will. And, when we're talking about our external environment, we can have destiny set up all kinds of possibilities and opportunities for us. But if we don't choose to engage with them through a place of free will and taking the courage to take action towards it, well, we will never really realize our destiny. We will just kind of stay in one place. And so courage calls us to have faith. So if curiosity is really about tapping into awe and wonder, courage is about tapping into faith that the actions you take based on your coming from a place of awareness about who you are is going to produce the end result that is meant for you, that is going to continue to unlock your place and purpose. So when we think about taking action, and especially about really opening yourself up to asking that question as to, if I don't have to do anything, what would I like to do? what best suits me, what feels good, and starting to connect with that part of yourself. Then we have Deer Spirit. Bring a gentle touch. And when we're thinking about having courage, sometimes it's just about making the small, gentle adjustments. And that can actually, it's interesting to actually have the courage to tell yourself, well, I don't have to take the money I've saved and put it in a house just because everybody tells me that that's the financially sound thing you do when you get to a certain age. I can have the courage to live in a different way. And that doesn't mean that you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater and tell everybody who has bought a house that they're stupid or that this is an outdated belief or we should all be nomads. It's about taking the simple, courageous actions to make small adjustments, to actually admit to yourself, and this is a decision, this is actually a courageous decision, to take action to admit to yourself that you don't want to do something, or that what you're working towards no longer fills a need of yours, or that one option that may not bring in as much money as another option feels better. And so when we're thinking of the deer as an animal, deers can actually be very skittish. Yes, they are animals that generally are, I think they bring up, elements of being gentle, of being almost majestic. But there's also this element where they're they could perk their ears up and boom, hear the least little thing and dart away. So there is this element here of not wanting to run, not as you're going and being curious about what you've been engaging with and what part of yourself you've been engaging on this journey, and you're reconnecting with and reevaluating with, well, what's really authentic to me, that you don't get scared and just dart. That you don't see something and say, oh, whoa, I can't believe I've been doing this. I'm just going to have to drop it and run away. It's about making the gentle, small adjustment instead, holding firm. And this is really where self-awareness kind of takes hold, is where we come back to our center. We come back to being grounded. We are not all over the place of like, ooh, I'm touching on some aspect of self that I don't want to go to and it's scary and I'm going to just dart over here and ignore it. This is where we come to a place of realizing every part of ourself is perfect, even in its imperfections. And the more we become aware of our singularity and how all these parts of ourselves fit together, the more we start to see our external life bloom. The more we start to see our external life bloom and really start to reflect our internal life. So here, this is really about saying, make those small tweaks. This is about bringing a gentle touch towards yourself, not going in and tearing yourself apart with judgment or being harsh with yourself, but it's about coming to a centered place to realize I'm always on my path, I'm always on my journey, but I want to enjoy it. So now what can I do? What are small tweaks that I can make? Small areas that I can actually make the decision to release some aspect of self, or to release an expectation that another's put on me, to uncover part of my authentic self, and to really sit quietly with that and be at peace almost with that. There's a quality in this card. I just love this image of almost like the look on the deer's face is, no, I know who I am. I'm not going to dart off. I'm at peace. I'm at peace with myself. Okay. So now I'm going to pull a card for the final principle of the Triad of Engagement, which is contemplation. And contemplation is really I always say this at the end, it's not the most important, but it really is the culminating principle out of the 3 principles for a reason, because it ties together and connects what we are curious about with the actions that we took around what we were being curious about. And it takes a look at the consequences of those actions and of that area of curiosity that we dove into. And this is where we get to learn. This is our seat of realization, of integration, of reflection, and ultimately where we get to grow and evolve through looking at consequences and being able to make small adjustments based off of that, and also hold ourselves self-responsible for the consequences of our actions. That if something came out maybe not quite to your liking or with a negative result, that we bring that power back to ourselves and say, okay, where can I make the change first within myself to ensure that that negative reaction is mitigated the next time? Not simply just to ignore it or to keep repeating the same actions that ultimately end with the same results, same consequences, and you're not diving into reflecting on them. And that's where we can actually get stagnant. That's where we can experience repeat negative behavioral patterns. So, your card that came out is the Age of Light. And it says, you've been training for this for lifetimes. I really get the feeling here, Pisces, that you guys this month are discovering some aspect of self that perhaps you maybe not had worked with in the past, but a part of yourself that now you see how it can be applied towards something current in your life. It's almost like getting this opportunity that kind of falls out of nowhere because you're bringing awareness to yourself that you're like, oh, I never thought about doing that. But you know what? I'm going to try it out. And then you happen to be good at it because it's making use of an ability you already know you have, but you've kind of pushed it aside. So this could be something that looks like you currently right now in your work are, let's say, an IT professional. And that's what you do every day. And it's not that you don't, maybe it's not boring to you, but it doesn't highlight some aspect, some internal authentic aspect of self. Let's say some internal authentic aspect of self is that you really like to publicly speak. Maybe maybe people have commented in the past about, man, you should have been a radio host, or you really are able to come up with, things off the cuff. I really wish I could be like that. And you do enjoy speaking, and it's always come naturally and easy to you, but you've never really been able to utilize it in any capacity. And all of a sudden you get this opportunity, whether it's through some side thing that just kind of pops in, where somebody asks you to maybe speak on something in front of a crowd, or at work where normally you don't utilize this aspect of yourself, suddenly you're tasked with a project that unlocks this part of yourself. And you suddenly realize, oh, well, I don't have to be a radio host or have a podcast to share my voice in a way that makes me feel really connected to what I'm doing. Instead, I realized that in being asked to maybe stand up and lead a training meeting at my current job, I really enjoy being in front of people and helping them learn about an area of the IT world that I'm highly knowledgeable about, but being able to bring my sense of humor and being able to kind of take really dry educational content and jazz it up so that people are engaged. And I realized I'm really good at this and I really like it. And suddenly now you're engaging with this aspect of self that when you think about it, when I think about training for lifetimes, I really feel that that's like there's this part of yourself that has been lying dormant within you that, yes, maybe in past lives you have utilized, or maybe this is more that when I think of the Age of Light and take a look at this, this card really brings being of service to me. That when we think about the Age of Light and being beings of light, that there is this component of raising to a higher frequency. And when we get to that point, that's really where we can be of service to others, as much as being a service to ourselves as well, because then we get that beautiful feeling of acknowledging some authentic aspect of self and getting a chance to have that feeling that I think we all would like to try to work towards, where we have that feeling of, I can't believe I get paid to do this. Or I can't believe I randomly found this little niche and it fits me just perfectly. Because ultimately that is what our whole life experience is. It's about finding our niche, finding that place to fill in the external collective experience to help not only elevate our own experience, but the experience of the entire human collective experience. And so there really is this feeling to me that this month, or moving over into the next couple weeks, that there's going to be this kind of aha moment come through as you're starting to really think again about and kind of take a look at, well, what do I really want to do? And really, if I stop right now and take a look at the path I'm on, am I engaging with the journey? If you really think about it, maybe if you had been tasked with leading this training, 2 months ago, it might have just seemed like a burden. But suddenly now, because you're looking at every day as a journey, you're looking at connecting some authentic part of yourself with every task and every decision and every action you choose to take, that you now are able to really get a little bit of a deeper connection to taking on this task, to say, wow, I really enjoyed that. And maybe I don't have to leave the IT world if I'm not feeling that inspired by it, but I can take all of my work up into this point, all my experience, and I can just segue it a little bit. In fact, I don't even have to leave my current company. I can just express that I would like to start taking on more of these training opportunities. And I would like to be more hands-on and leading these teams and performing the training myself. And most companies, if they've already asked you once to do something like that, are going to be really excited that you want to do it again, because not everybody loves to train others. But this is just an example. So I do feel that a lot of you are kind of going to have this aha moment about seeing where a part of yourself that exists, but that you've never really understood how to bring forward is going to be given that option to shine and to be brought forward. But first you have to be aware. First you have to bring your seat of awareness, especially to self, down into the present, and to really take a look at, all future goals aside, what are you connecting with now on your path? Not getting to the top of the mountain, but taking a look at the beautiful natural surroundings and really connecting with what is going to bring me this sense of emotional fulfillment here, because that's going to direct you to where your next step is going to be. And that's going to show you that perhaps your real path is not to the top of the mountain, but it's towards one side where you're going to get to unlock all these other aspects of self and meet new characters and maybe get to see something even more amazing that you didn't even realize was down around the side of the mountain instead of from the top. All right, Pisces, I hope that this has been illuminating. I hope that what you find about yourself, out about yourself this month is truly kind of one of those like small little points that you'll look back on and say, that's where I picked back up again on my path. That's where everything changed for me. And I had no idea it was going to take me here. and this is amazing. If you would like to book a personal tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of July. Bye, Pisces.